The meeting to order approximately 7:10. This is a joint meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee as well as the Affordable Housing Trust Board. My name is Janet Providakis. I am the chairman of the Affordable Housing Committee. And just want to let you know this is being taped. Okay, so afterwards you'll be able to see this on channel 8. We do not have Zoom access, so the participants will be able to ask questions that are here present. All right, I'm going to go ahead and look for approval of the agenda. What I was thinking about is, again, with public comment and questions, we're going to go ahead and introduce some individuals that are here from the Devon's Crest area so that we can address any type of questions that they might have. So can I get a
Move for the agenda.
agenda?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And thank you very much, everybody. Okay, again, there's a lot of things that have been going on within the town, and I want to go ahead and introduce Rick Harmon, who has been doing items, I'm going to say assisting individuals over at the Devon's Crest area. Rick, I do appreciate all the efforts that you've made, to put everything all together. And we've been able to coordinate so that you're hopefully, sorry, just helping you when you get there. I'm hoping that individuals can go ahead and get some of these documentations so that they know that assistance is needed. One thing that the town has put out is a public statement that, it's so funny, I kind of just had one and I don't remember what happened. Yeah,
And they're out on the table.
right. So we have them out on the table. They've been posted on the town's website as well as Facebook pages for people who are on social media and such. And it goes ahead and describes a little bit of what the town can do, can't do. We've worked with the town. So tomorrow night, we do have ArtCap with resources for community
And people.
and people, thank you. And they are going to be there over at the Living Waters Fellowship Church on Littleton Road, 5:30, to talk about what the application process is, plus also other types of resources that are available. They will also work on getting appointments so that people can go ahead and fill out applications for rental assistance. And they also have links to find additional apartments, additional places to live. Legal aid, have we heard anything back?
Yes, we will have someone there.
So there'll also be someone from legal aid there. Exactly, Rick. It's like, this way here, it's a one-stop shopping. I think this, again, some of the conversations that went on is it would have been, it's nice that we have something that can just focus in on the questions that are at hand. And that definitely, can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Definitely, it will go ahead and keep individuals, and as I tell, people, when I first moved into town, I was a single mom, so I know how difficult it was to find a babysitter. At least the babysitter can be used for the one night that can answer more questions. So with that, but always, when it comes to these types of committees and such, if you've got a question, if you've got any type of concerns, call town hall. Alicia Hersey is the coordinator for our groups. The poor thing, she's got both of us. And with that, we just want to go ahead and make sure that you've got any questions, contact. We've got the 8220 number, extension 142 for Alicia.
Yeah.
And we will bring it up to the board, bring it up to the committees. This is our town. We get to go ahead and say, and work on what's going to happen. So I think this works out really good. All right, I see Rick's got a question, is it, or are you just saying?
Well, I was just, when you were addressing me directly, I'm posting this live on Facebook, that's why I wasn't talking back with you. All the resources that you just said is great. In fact, you're going to have Northeast Legal there tomorrow is awesome and amazing, and I will put that out there on my page as quick as I can and try to just pass that word on. I think that's the most important thing for people right now is to get in touch with Northeast,
I'm not sure if it's Northeast, it's Jamie Eldridge has arranged for the legal.
That was Northeast Legal,
Right.
yeah. According to Old Sign, that's what it was.
Northeast, okay, good.
I spoke to someone from Northeast Legal myself on Sunday as well.
Mhm.
And she basically kind of said that she might be there, so I feel
Okay.
okay.
Right.
Is that, are they from Worcester area?
Then Lowell.
Okay, I just said something
Yeah.
about Worcester, but.
No, currently, I guess you can't go to that building, you can't physically go there. You
Oh,
can
I
only
see.
contact them, until 1 PM, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right, the gentleman who's now talking, that's Rick Harmon, all right, I was gonna say, maybe what we need to do so people know who's on the committee, all right, again, I introduced myself as Janet Providakis. I've been living in town since '95. I'm the chairman of this committee. I'm also on the Community Preservation Committee. I'm also on the Ayer Housing Authority. So with that, I've been working with the master plan, the housing section, so it just seemed a good move so that we know what's needed within the town. So to my right, I went ahead and started introducing Alicia.
I'm Alicia Dorsey. I work as the Community Development Program Manager. I'm in the Office of Community and Economic Development. And some people here have already stopped in to see me, and I'll be happy to help people with resources. I tend to get lots of phone calls with people looking for resources at all times, and this is a difficult time. And I also head up the housing. We have a number of different housing programs in town, and I represent the housing aspect of town.
Hi, I'm Colleen Kraser. I am a member of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust Board of Trustees, and I sit on the Community Preservation Committee as well.
Hello, my name is James Stephen, and I'm new on the Affordable Housing Committee, so I'm just waiting to find out exactly what to do. I know I can stick with the fire department, they'll tell me everything. I'm also a member of the Commission of Trust Funds, and I'm on the Capital Funds Committee. So I'll be seeing you and your chief.
My name is Jeff Tillotson. I am also a trustee for the, got me tongue-tied, for the Ayer Affordable Ayer Housing Trust Board, board member of the Ayer Housing Trust. I also currently serve on the Ayer Planning Board in the position of chair.
I'm Sean Copeland. I am a member of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust Board, and I am the chair of the Ayer Select Board.
My name is Jake Driscoll. I'm a member of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust Board.
Cindy Lavin, and I'm also on the trust board, new to all of this, and run Stone Soup Kitchen down at Living Water Fellowship.
I'm Ken Diskin. I'm a member of the Ayer Affordable Housing Committee. I'm also a member of the Ayer Planning Board, Vice Chairman of the Planning Board.
We're tired from a big meeting last night.
That's right, you guys did have quite a meeting last night. It's
And
okay.
it's the same position as everyone else, actively interested in learning more.
Always, as I go. We have two members of the committee that are not present. Ron Morrison, who is the real estate agent here within town, as well as Karen Swanfeld, who has a veterinarian emergency that she needed to take care of tonight. One other thing too is we did have another member of the housing board, Jennifer Kale, and we received a resignation letter from her due to family issues. So we will be having an opening, and with that, it's the committee will go ahead and we'll have to present something else to the select board, another individual. We have someone in mind because, again, the way that we did the voting and such, we do.
Somebody one vote off.
Yeah, so with that, we know that people are just moving up the numbers. So, so with that. Now, one of the other things that I did want to, to mention is, which I did on the ones that you can contact us. We are open for ideas. So again, this is our own, our community. So let's make it work for everybody. Okay. All right, moving along, I'm going to go ahead and, for public comment and questions, do we have anybody out in the public who's got a specific question, for the two, one's a board, the other's the committee. The board handles the money, the committee got the money for them. So I think that's the best way of calling it. So with that,
I just want to say, I want to make sure that, I know right now it's a kind of a big thing with Devon's Crest going on, but I want to make sure that doesn't, fall to the back burner over the next 6 months. I know that Cindy won't allow it to happen. I know that. I mean, she does a lot more than what you said, the soup kitchen. That you've done a lot to help the people there as well. So I just want to make sure that that becomes like it's kind of in you guys' minds, and it's something you guys are gonna be aware of, and these people are gonna be there for a while. I would expect.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out find a place that these people live.
yeah. Well, again, this is one thing that this committee is committed to, the committee and the board, is to get. I'm just gonna go on with, there is affordable that starts with a little a, okay, which is private, all right? This is what Devon's Crest is. It is a private entity that owns these apartments. They made them affordable for the individuals, but it is not what's considered big A, which is the subsidized. It is deed restricted. All of this for types of, like say, housing. It can be, over at the Willows, it can be a house that you own. It can be apartments, Pleasant Street. You've got the Housing Authority, their buildings. So with that, you've got the two different types. And Habitat for Humanity, all right? So these are things that, again, this committee and the board is going to be looking at creating more affordable housing, both ones, both different types within the town. So that's why during the meeting at Living Waters last week, I wanted to go ahead and mention that the town is working on it, and we've got more information about that later on. This is what these two, the committee and the board is looking to do, is making sure that the housing market's just gone crazy nationwide, all right? And we're trying to keep reining it in. So with that, that's one thing. But with regards to Devon's Crest, I know Alicia has been taking phone calls and such, and we will keep working on the resources that are available and making sure that they show up. I'm asking questions with regards to the library to see if they need assistance. I'm asking questions to see whether or not there's any type of transportation, to see if there's anything that we can do to help people get from Devon's Crest to an agency, and things, So as time progresses, I'll be letting you know.
Just had a question. When we named Becca, she just asked, will Devon's Crest ever become a big A affordable?
I'm gonna say no, because somebody, it's got to have that deed restriction. And this is one thing that the town, even went ahead and said in their statement. And to go ahead and do that, that's gonna cost a lot of money. Again, it's sold for over $11 million. For the town to go ahead and take it over, that's a lot. So, and with all the work that has got to happen there, I'd rather see, I'll be honest, again, my opinion, I'd rather see monies being used so that you've got more current housing that is largely affordable within the town. Okay, new construction. Because this way here, it is going to be well insulated. They're going to have, there won't be roof leaks. Everything's going to be new. And we've got possibly some good developers that are interested in the town to create stuff. So, again, to answer Becky's question, I don't see that happening.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, and your name, please?
Hi, my name is Denise Peralta. I live in Devon's Crest.
Okay,
If
Denise.
there were so many problems with the property, why was it allowed to continue to not be repaired?
It has to go to the Board of Health. Go ahead. If there's so many issues with the properties, why wasn't
But it must have happened over years because it didn't.
I would imagine, okay? And again, with the town, it's got to go to the Board of Health. I don't know if anybody, reported it to the Board of Health. I don't know. Those are questions that need to be, to be answered.
And I know that, you know, I see videos all the time of tiny houses. I, for one, am getting sick and tired of, I'm tired of renting from landlords because I've had to move so many times. Because all they want to do, like, they're not, our incomes are not going up to the cost of housing. Not for anything. This housing issue, I've been sounding the alarm since 2004 to Washington, to my senators, to Congress. Continually, I did a paper on it. I went to women, I was in Women in Politics and Public Policy. That's what, you know, that's what I did for my paper. This has been a problem for a long time, and people are just allowing it to not be addressed. But suddenly, it's, you know, it's a really big problem. But really, it's been a problem for a long time. That's why people continue to move, because, you know, they get settled, they're okay, and especially, and people are not addressing single people. Single people have one income. Two people, if they both have income, it makes it a lot easier. But when you have one income, you're screwed. Like they said, at Devon's Crest, the income qualification will be $72,000. Isn't that catering to like middle to upper class?
Yes.
And there are 1,600 people in Ayer that are single. That I think it's over 40, because I looked at the numbers.
We are, I mean, again, we are addressing that. To go ahead and say back to 2004, we've known that this has been an issue. I know that Alan Loyan, even before the 2017 master plan, okay, when he came into town, he knew that there was going to be some issues. Again, some of this stuff does take time. When you talk about tiny houses, Denise had asked about, tiny houses aren't allowed in Massachusetts, from what I'm looking at the
Well, why don't we
plan.
start doing this?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So, we have added a number of houses since that period. The woman I've been here for about 8 years, and the woman who was before me. The Willows has 12 or 13. Now, those are, they are affordable, but those are for purchase. We did 2 Habitat units. We did units over the Fletcher building, which is, you probably don't know what the Fletcher building is.
It's where Owen.
It's where all Jacobs
Yeah.
is. So 4 of the 5 units over there are affordable. We have affordable units in the Spalding building. These are all.
So when you say habitat, are those, do people own them? Do they?
Yes,
Yes, they're deed restricted.
Because I know a lot about
Yeah.
habitat, but I wasn't, because every single project is a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's been a number of units that have been added, and we, every year, we also do a housing rehab, and those units really kind of qualify as little A. We have been working to bring in something that our department really believes in, and the town believes in, and both of these committees I think believe in, is the lower income affordable. And that has to come in when you're doing a 40B. You really need a nonprofit, and I know I talked to you earlier today about this. So you need a nonprofit who's willing to build rental units, and they do it through tax credits because they will be subsidized. And we have been working we've been meeting with 40B developers for a long time. We now think we have one. They have filed with the state, but it's before we can say anything. It is a nonprofit 40B. It will probably replace about the number of units that are going to be lost in Devon's Crest. And it'll be from 30, 50, and 80% AMI, which means 30% is low income. Extremely low income.
Extremely.
It's very low and
income.
extremely low, yeah. And
Yes, yes. There's a poverty level one beyond the lower than all those, and that's about 15%. But anyway, and so, but it's all, we've been working a long time on this, and it's a little premature to bring it forward, but we hope, unfortunately, the Devon's Crest thing is hitting, and this isn't out there yet. And so, yes, the town is very committed and has worked very hard and has changed a lot of zoning laws. And when we get in here, I'll go over some of that stuff. So,
one last question.
Well, hold on a second, before we do that, you still with your other question,
Oh,
with regards to tiny houses?
So
Thank you.
so the town recently accepted what's called an accessory unit bylaw.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the first step towards a quote
Oh.
tiny house. some of the challenges of tiny houses are, there are Board of Health issues, sanitation issues and things like that we have to get around,
Yeah,
okay? It would be nice to move in trailers and have them, but you gotta connect into water, you gotta connect into sewer and stuff like that. There are no efforts right now to do that I'm aware of. I'm speaking as an individual in town,
Yeah,
also
right.
what the planning board has done. But we did do an accessory use, and the reason for the accessory use is exactly to take care of what you're talking about. As people age out, they want to stay on the property, their children would maybe move in and help take care of them. We didn't have an accessory use bylaw before. Bill, you asked a question about substandard housing. Unless it comes to inspectional services, either through an argument or a complaint, nothing can be done about it.
so for
Inspection
40 years,
services.
so for 40 years, you never got any complaints?
I'm not involved in that, I don't know the answer.
I'm just kidding.
But quite honestly, but a lot of people get along, they
Yeah, right,
let it go.
exactly.
Because, what happens is my rent goes up, or I have to move, or something like that happens. So there's so much upset involved with it.
Yeah, right.
As Janet said, there are people, there are nonprofits looking at Ayer as an opportunity. It's sometimes known as local initiative housing.
Yeah.
The other piece that's a challenge here is we're in Middlesex County. Our affordability index is matched, tied to Cambridge. We work on that. That's a challenge though. 80% of the median income for Ayer may not look like 80% of the median income for Cambridge. So there has to be some work done on that too.
I think the way that they have that whole policy thing set up
Yeah.
is so discriminatory because say you want to move into Newton
Yeah.
and they go by your income.
Mhm.
It's like every single town that is high level income, it's a way to keep people out that are not high income, that are low income. So to me, it's a discriminatory law, and I don't even know how it's allowed to be. It still exists because it's very discriminating.
Yeah. And this has been, and I don't want to get us too far afield,
Yeah, I know.
but this has been a conversation that's been happening. Quite honestly, I moved to town 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Been involved in the master plan, been involved with the planning board. We've been discussing it.
Mhm.
As Janet said, it's unfortunate that Devon's Crest happened now. It truly is. Because it's like, people are their lives are getting thrown up in the air and there's nowhere to go at this point. And that's a big challenge. And I know these guys have been working hard on it. So tiny houses, accessory units and stuff like that, but it's not to be created. So it's a challenge.
And the other thought I had is, what about you're talking about affordable housing. So why affordable housing? Why don't we have housing that people can buy every unit? Like something that's like,
Like a
$100,000. Huh?
Like a condo?
Or a townhouse, how Devon's Crest, we all wanted to buy that property, but, everybody was very disappointed that he wouldn't sell
It
it.
was a private sale.
Huh?
It's
Yeah.
a
No,
private.
I'm not talking about that, I'm just saying why can't we build something that is for sale to individuals
That
at a
is-
low price?
And that is actually that's another process by which housing can be made.
Mhm.
In simple terms, this is very simple. Habitat for Humanity, or Big A, deed restricted housing, that's affordable housing. It goes in below.
Yeah, but does it have to always be affordable housing?
This is the way it works, okay?
No, I
Yeah,
understand all of
we call it
that.
affordable or not, but
Yeah.
it sells at below market price.
Mhm.
You buy it and move into it. When you leave, the value of that is determined by the affordable group in town. You don't get the benefit
The
of
habitat you're talking about.
a habitat or a similar type of.
Yeah, right.
We-
Yeah, but
we-
why does it have to be like that?
That's the way Massachusetts law is currently written. I understand the question.
But that's only when you go under 40B laws, but why do you have to go under 40B law? Why can't there just be housing offered that people can buy their own unit,
Yeah.
but it's offered at a price that, right now, if I could buy something at 100,000, but not 400,000. So instead of it being under the auspices of affordable housing,
Mhm.
have some kind of housing development built for people who can buy the property and live there and own it rather than lose it. I know Habitat, I'm not a fan of the way they do things like that.
I tried to talk to Brady Sullivan, did you ask them directly? Brady Sullivan, the company that purchased the. Have you
And
asked
then-
them
and
if
it-
they purchased it?
I don't know.
And maybe if I may say one more thing.
Yeah.
What's happened at Devon's Crest is investors have purchased it because they see value in the property, unfortunately.
Well, it's a value in the land.
Exactly, in the property.
Yeah.
And
It's the property.
that doesn't always line up with exactly what you're describing.
Well, obviously, from a private perspective, they're not gonna offer it to us.
And
$100,000.
towns and communities, some do it. There's, Cambridge has a great deal of affordable public housing. But Cambridge has also a great deal of more money than we do, and has been working on it for a long, long time. Where affordable housing gets built typically is in multi-unit buildings. Typically in Massachusetts, 1 of every 5 units is an affordable unit. We don't have a whole lot of apartment buildings here.
Yeah.
We're starting to build that. We're starting to attract that.
Or townhouses.
And also too, you know, Denise, one good thing is that we're gonna show you some of the things that
Oh, good.
we've gone ahead and, you know, done as the town. Because I wanna make sure that, as we're moving forward,
Of course.
we understand, you know, your concerns and such, again, limited by mass law. And with that type of limitation, it takes letters to, you know, the senators and, our legislature in the state. Now, I do have to say something, you know, I mean, the state does an awesome job, but there are things that just doesn't go right, you know, with being discriminatory and everything. One thing that I did want people to, like I say, we've got, I'm just moving on with the agenda. If there's are there any other comments or anything? Okay. All right, because I wanted people to realize that out on the handouts, we do have an updated resource sheet, right, which will go ahead and give,
More up to date than the one that you provided me.
This is what's online right now. I think this is the one.
That you gave to me, probably, right?
yeah, it's not the original, it's been updated, I think, like I say twice, I believe Alicia did email you one.
Yeah, right. I found
I
it.
actually updated the program, so I can't guarantee, but, and Janet just told me something else that needs to go on, so.
All right, so that's why,
It's the same one, it's the same one.
all right, so there will be, like say, one other additional link that is going to be made, with that, again, if you really want the most, you know, again, Rick, you'll probably put it, but if you want to link to the one that's on the town website, because if that gets updated, then everything's gonna get updated.
Yeah, I'm still trying to learn how to use all this stuff as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure I can probably figure that out.
Okay,
Is there any formal possible negotiation you had between the town and Brady Sullivan on purchase?
I don't know that.
Is there any way, like, if I could facilitate that, I'm not sure if they even go for that, but I don't know if that's something that you guys could do, or is it?
Again, the town, I don't see the town taking it over at all.
Right, no, I'm not saying.
Yeah, so that's why with it being a private, it would be same thing that they would do to somebody who owned a house. Unless there's something that they need to step in with because there was some sort of, you know, complaint or whatever. I don't see, you know, Board of Health or whatever, coming in. So we will, the dialogue will not end. All right, so with that, there will be, you know, other things that we might be able to bring to fruition. So I'm not gonna say no, but, I know that they have been in discussion with Brady Sullivan. I know that they have, you know, been able to, thank you. All right, the town, you know, has been in touch with Brady Sullivan. I know the town has been, you know, when they're talking with them, making sure they confirmed, you know, if people had an issue about, you know, moving out, contact Brady Sullivan. You know, they will go ahead and work with that tenant to find out, you know, it's not like if they can stay there forever. You know, again, they need to, you know, redo those apartments. And you know, the stuff that's inside there, you gotta move out. And so with that, I know that Brady Sullivan has told the town they are willing to work with the resident if they call. It's not just hands up saying, well, they didn't let me know. Call them, and they are willing to go ahead and work. This is what
You
they
know what,
said.
that's not really true in a way, because I called Beth on the 14th, and she.
All right, Denise, who's Beth? I'm sorry.
Oh, Beth is the property manager.
Okay.
So I had a conversation with her, and it was just flat out, you know, oh, this is what she said. Oh, I can offer you a rehabilitated apartment that, you know, and I said, well, how much? And she said $1,800. And I said, well, what is the income qualifications? And she said $72,000, but you have to apply for them. And so I make $72,000.
That was on the 14th. I would recommend you call again and you specifically say, I would like 3, 6 months, whatever you want, extension on my eviction. I need time to find a place. And you say exactly what you want. I'm not saying that they're going to respond to it, but it needs to come from you guys. And you need to say, I want an extension.
After we had that conversation, I said, I called her back and I said, you know what, I think I want the application, because I wanted to see what she was gonna do. I think she was calling my bluff. So when I said to her that, can you send the application to me? And can you also put in writing what you just said about the housing cost and all of that? And then before you know it, she sent me the notice, she sent me an eviction notice 60 days after I had a conversation with her.
Document everything.
Yeah,
Just document everything. Every time you call, document it.
And have these questions tomorrow for RCAP, because again, RCAP works with rental assistance.
I'm actually working with Central Mass Housing Alliance.
Yeah.
Should I go?
They're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're two different organizations, but they're the same.
Luckily I called them middle June, and they got back to me like June 28th, and my application process started then. So I was ahead of the game.
But what I'm suggesting to you is that because housing is tight, call back and say, I would like a longer time period.
So I will say, Denise, that I was contacted today by the director of the property management at Dennis Trust from Brady Sullivan, just randomly because of my Facebook page. And she said that she's definitely willing to work with people in time extensions. They just hired a relocation person just for that purpose, is to try to help people find houses. And that they're willing to financially pay people to leave, basically. So I
don't know if everybody heard that, they're willing to.
How much?
I literally spoke to her for probably like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so until I got more information, I wasn't going to release anything.
Yeah.
Because I don't have enough to really.
Yeah, it's fluid. Yeah, and it's all
The
fluid.
fact that she said those things,
Because,
that's
again,
she has to contact him again.
Yeah.
Should I talk to
Yeah.
Beth?
That's not her name.
Oh,
I
okay.
can give it to you after the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
That's it.
You have to adjust the chair.
I take her, I'm doing what I say, Robert, just wasn't hard. With some of this information, make sure that does get shared tomorrow night.
Yeah,
All
of
right?
course, yeah.
Okay, because, again, it would nice to be bringing people up to date. And also too, because of, the feedback that they're getting and such, it's all gonna be fluid. And that's why I wanna make sure that, as you get information, don't think that's the final word. It may end up changing, in an hour.
The relocation person is supposed to contact me tomorrow. So I didn't want to say anything until I actually spoke to them,
Okay.
get more information and
All right,
I'll
so
talk to you about everything.
And it has to be
Good
in
job.
writing, because words mean nothing.
No, I understood, but that's one thing
They
about.
said they were willing to come down to
Alright.
Express. They wanted to come and talk to the
Okay.
residents.
Adjust the
Okay.
chair, guys.
Yeah.
I'm
Can't-
sorry. I apologize.
Right, no, that's okay,
So
because,
she also mentioned that they were willing to come to Devil's Crest, but they didn't feel that that was the right thing to do at this time because they knew that everyone was upset and they thought that their presence there would be maybe not the best thing to do at that time.
no, that's why, it's.
And I agree with them on that. That's probably the right thing.
Okay, I saw that, do you have your hand
Oh,
over?
I'm sorry.
No, okay, no, that's okay, no problem, I just wanna make sure people are getting recognized, that's why, it's like, oh. One of the other thing too is, I wanna make sure people were aware, and I have this as a handout, this is 2001 household income levels, and they'll probably have this tomorrow night, if you want, I pass it on, because I think everybody, James, I think you got one in your packet.
I don't know if they're not.
He doesn't, oh, okay. Jeff, I think you have one, so if you want to give one to Greg, and I can pass this one on too. So if you can show what the low income and the low income and the moderate income levels are within the town of Ayer. And this is what sort of like what Cindy and Denise were talking about, on how sometimes it can be discriminatory, because it's like, okay, if you're looking at Belmont, so you're looking at Cambridge, this is a whole nother issue of, the salaries there versus the salaries here. You can get assistance, rental assistance, if these income income levels, if you're below these income levels. So this is one thing that I want people to emphasize, within the town here. When I work inside, in the town, and others, work in the town, when we're talking about affordable housing, we're talking about, people who don't earn the salaries out of Boston. And there are, again, our CAP will be able to assist with some sort of paperwork for rental assistance if you are under these types of income levels. And it's amazing when you look at a 4-person, a moderate income level, which is at 80%, that can get rental assistance, is $101,000 a year, approximately $50, $101, right? So with that, if you've got a family of 4, you can go ahead and look for assistance. You can go ahead and look for affordable housing. So with that, I want people to realize when we start talking about affordable housing, it's not just Section 8, 40Bs, it's like, these are us.
I think that we need to educate people.
I understand that, that's why I want to wait around. This is one thing that this group is trying to do. Groton had a great summit, housing summit, a couple weeks ago. So with that, it's like, we need to educate people. This is what this committee really wants, the committee and board want to do, of having education seminars so that individuals can find out, you're going to be available for this, all right? So this is going to be able to help you out. So I went on a tangent.
Is there a way for the town to find out the affordable housing in other towns, other communities, to find out what they have available in different neighboring communities?
On the last page, there is, and that's actually something, there's a couple websites, they're not very good because there's so little housing out there, but on the last page, there's a couple links. I noticed when I was, but Ron Morrison has a link for rentals all over this area. He's a member of this committee, but he's also the realtor downtown of all rentals available, and he has a link that's the one thing that I need to add to this, so that people can go on that link to look at rentals.
So is the income level and how much of
Yes. Yeah. Not the income level, it's the rental amounts that are on this.
Yeah, but in order to qualify for in order to qualify for rental, you have to have a particular income. So if they're saying $1,800, then you have to be making, like they said, they said 72,000.
That's private, again, that's private,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do
Right.
with affordable.
All right, not the big A, this is.
No, but usually when you rent an apartment, that's $1,800.
Mhm.
They're not gonna give it to you if you make $25,000 a year.
Like I say, that's a question for our staff,
Mhm.
okay, for tomorrow, so hold on to that one.
Okay.
All right, with regards to the link and Ron, I know if Ron would be here tonight, he would have gone ahead and made sure people were aware that if you do, and I know this sounds like advertising, I'm sorry, but he's going to do stuff pro bono. All right, so it's not like there's going to be any type of fee. Yeah. So okay, all right, I'm going to move on. I want to have Alicia take it over because Alan was supposed to be here, but however, he did have personal matters to take care of. With that, of what the town has done with regards to expanding affordable housing within the community. I know that Jeff has mentioned, some of the bylaw changes, so I'm going to have Alicia take it over and have the presentation up here. Right.
Thank you, Dana. So first I'm going to say, this is just one page. Ellen just put this together. He thought he was going to be here and just do an overview of what the town has done. But I want to mention something. Last time we had a meeting, which was last month, we talked about how much housing was being built in the town, in the state of Massachusetts. And I had a slide showing that at 40 years ago, 50 to 60,000 homes were being built every year. Right now, the state of Massachusetts is having trouble their goal is to have 17,000, so not even 50% of what they were building 40 years ago. And often we don't make that. Part of that is because we've got very restrictive, and this is the problem, this is the real crunch, there's not enough housing. And part of this comes from a state that has just, closed down the communities. Zoning is run by each town. And something that the state legislature, and this happened because people called in and really pushed it. Charlie Baker, who took it to the state legislature 2 or 3 times. Under the state law, a zoning law change needed a 2/3 vote. So at town meeting, and town meetings often only have 300 or 400 people at it. And so you could stack the town meeting, so we couldn't get zoning law changes. A lot of towns like their little beautiful downtown, they don't want anything to change. A lot of towns don't want poor people, they don't want the middle class, so they were really stopping building from happening. And the second time, this spring, that law got changed. It's now a majority vote. In the town of Ayer, we've been very lucky because we have a very progressive community, and we have brought a number of zoning changes over the last 4 years to the town, and they have voted them in, sometimes with a unanimous vote.
Unanimous.
They've been unanimous every time, every chance.
Yeah. And a lot of people around this table have been very active in making those changes. But we have been having the discussion, and it's a serious discussion, and we really do take this all very seriously, about how we need to create more housing. Because not only would more housing have more options for people, but it'll bring the prices down. If there's enough houses, it's supply and demand.
But it's not just that, it's because of lumber too, the cost of lumber.
Oh, yes,
Skyrocketed.
Yes, but if you go down to the south, they build a 3,000 square foot house and you can buy it for $250. I mean, lumber's not that different. The cost of land here is very high. And the infrastructure and all that kind of stuff is high. But all that, so that, the state is talking about this, and there have been changes. Some of the changes we have done is we made the Affordable Housing Committee 2 years ago. And that came from first the master plan, and then we formed the housing committee, and with the housing committee, we worked to form the housing trust. The housing trust will give us an avenue to spend CPC money, and we have something in our zoning law, so I'll come back to that. So there is in lieu of payments from developers that could come in, and that's to be spent on affordable housing. So we're putting ways to get money into the pipeline so we can build more affordable housing. As I said earlier, we also have built housing through CDBG grants. Some of the downtown buildings all have apartments in them that were funded and built through CDBG grants. And Habitat for Humanity. The planning board passed the accessory apartment. The planning board passed the inclusionary zoning bylaw. The inclusionary zoning bylaw says if a developer is building a multifamily property in town, for every 5 units, they have to supply 1 affordable unit. To offset the developer's costs, we offer them 2 additional units for that. So if they're building 10 units, they have to give us 2 affordable, and then they can get up to 4 units.
It's a density.
It's a density bonus,
We allow
yes.
more density on the parcel as a bonus if they give us affordable units to go with the multifamily law.
Why do they have to get the bonus?
Because
It's an
they're,
incentive. We're developing an incentive to try to get.
It's an
more
incentive.
affordable.
it's
So
done,
they get incentive with their profit?
Well, but so it costs.
so it's a win-win situation.
Okay.
The incentive is to not dip into their pocket too deeply, and we end up with affordable units, is what happens. We also end up with a situation, we say density. More people living in a smaller area, services are less expensive, we don't have sprawl, we don't have a whole lot of things that, honestly, Devon's is a great neighborhood.
I know, it is.
It's a really great neighborhood, okay? If you go into other areas of town, and I'm not gonna use the names of them because people get the wrong idea, but acre zoning doesn't work. Lots of grass, no trees.
Yeah.
So it's not, is it a neighborhood? I don't know. So when we say density, we mean bringing people More units in the same space is what was allowed for before. But you gotta give the private investor something to come and do it. And so this is why we do it. You can't hate the person for making money on this money. That's kind of the way it goes too.
On affordable housing, they're allowed to make up to, I think it's 30%.
Okay.
It depends on how you do it, but yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things another thing that has happened is because we are trying to bring our community into the town center with more dens, we also have changed the parking laws. It used to be that you had to have 2 parking spots for every apartment. 2 parking spots for every apartment means that takes up land. So we brought it down to 1 parking spot, Jeff?
It's, so, you can,
It's a formula.
we have a formula for parking spaces?
We're being more lenient on the
Yes.
parking requirement in order to take advantage of people walking, using the train,
Oh, you're talking about.
living in the downtown.
So in an area of downtown, a project came to the planning board in the last year or so, they don't want any parking. They want to build in the building for residential use. Parking's gonna be somewhere else. It's a chance they're taking, but the planning board approved it. So it's a commuter-based space. So we don't have to give up all that space in the building for parking. We can become units. So
Did the town have a discussion with Brady Sullivan before they bought it?
I'm not aware of it,
Yeah, I'm not aware of it either.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just.
but keep going, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
So we changed the accessory dwelling, we did the inclusionary bylaw, we did the OSRD,
Yes.
which is, open space bylaw. So they give more space to conservation and open space and make a more dense building site. So we keep talking about density, but this is how we get more housing and still keep our community open, and that's another tool that we passed in the last 4 years, correct, or 5?
In the last 4 or 5 years. And one of the things we haven't seen are a lot of multi-unit offers. The Washington Street Fire Station is a multi-unit building. That has stopped now because of changes in a person's health. As that comes up and goes, there may be opportunities in there, because that's come back to us. So we're pushing, the planning board and the town is working very hard to create more units. Unfortunately, it's a timely process. Especially given what Alicia described as, towns didn't want it before, so they made it very hard to pass zoning. But zoning's changing.
Right, and you guys have done a great job on that. Like, one of the other things too that Alicia's gonna bring up is form-based code, for the downtown area and West Main Street, to go ahead and build up,
Yes.
correct?
So when I talked about CDBG grants and putting apartments in these downtown buildings, these are downtown 3-story buildings that we put units in, rental units in. And the concept is that there's a lot of people who want to be able to access the train, so these are putting in 4-story buildings, retail on the first floor or office, with family up above.
That's mixed use, right?
That's
It's
mixed
a
use.
mixed use. Somerville, Cambridge,
Yeah.
East Boston, that's what exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's where they put a lot of their affordable units. And so we changed our zoning to do form-based code. And with the form-based code, that allows them to go 4 stories.
Up to
in
4
these
stories,
areas.
yeah.
And it allows them to max out the apartments, and then with our inclusionary zoning, every 5th unit has to be affordable. So we have 2 properties on Park Street that are getting ready to go. And there's buildings that are sites down here on Main Street, and then West Main Street, we expect things to go.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all this work, we set the table for this. But
How many players?
and it's going to happen, but it's not lining up with Devon's Crest, and we're sorry about that, because, and we also have this nonprofit we hope to come in, which is gonna actually, that will be subsidized housing. Sure.
Maybe want to do it a different time, but I was wondering if you could explain to me the difference between smart growth and form-based code districts.
It's virtually the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, they're both so-called overlay district.
Yeah.
We pick a distance from the train depot, basically. So instead of the training we've gotten, some of the meetings we've gone to, they use the term almost.
It's almost interchangeable.
Okay, there's no advantage over the other.
We could have used the smart growth as the same nomenclature for the form-based code district, but we decided to use the form-based code because it added another level of administration and approvals to streamline what's going in. Basically, the form-based code shows the developer exactly what we want in each location.
Gotcha.
It says,
literally
you can
come
build
to us and
this
say,
here,
I'm
it
doing
should
it.
look like this, and you can build this and walk away or two look. And it's based on this transition from the downtown out to the other parts of town, what will be an acceptable building type. Where the smart growth talks about the same district, but doesn't go to the depth of what you can put.
And actually, it's a little bit more cumbersome.
Yeah.
We felt that the form-based code was easier for the developer, and will happen more naturally. The smart growth has a little bit more, administrative.
So the history of it is, Governor Romney did smart growth. Out of smart growth came form-based code.
Okay.
So it's just the political landscape has changed. And what's interesting is 2 Republican governors
Yeah.
are the ones most responsible for bringing this type of zoning
Over
to
the-
Massachusetts.
Okay.
The smart growth was transit-based zoning that came up around with the Romney administration. And he had to get it through, so he called it smart growth.
We got a downtown.
I'm sorry?
What about Fort Devens? Like, do you guys?
Again, we can't even talk about Fort Devens, this is Ayer.
No, I know.
No, that's why, you know, again, we have to focus on here. That's
Actually,
totally.
I can give them a story on that.
So it's not considered part
Hold
of
on,
it?
hold on, we'll go back to
The
smart.
final tidbit on the form-based code. We had a downtown area business district in existence. And we just laid that form-based code over the same geographic location that the downtown district is there.
Nothing changed.
The shape of the district didn't change, so we didn't ask the taxpayers to consider if the lands further out changed. Dropped it right on top of what was already a district and changed the use of that district by giving them more explanation of exactly the building types that were allowed in that area.
Thank you for the education on that.
All right, going back to Fort Devens, I'll let Alicia.
I'm just gonna do this because it's a good education for everybody. So there's a big complex up at Fort Devens called Vicksburg Square. About 10, 12, 15 years ago. Now, Fort Devens is owned by 3 towns, Harvard, Shirley, and Ayer. So anything right now that happens in Fort Devens has to have a vote by all 3 towns.
It has to be accepted by all 3
It
towns.
has to be accepted by all 3 towns.
It's called a
but
super
it
town
goes-
meeting.
Yeah, but now the law changed, so it can be majority and not 2/3.
But it was by a 2/3 vote at that time. And I don't remember, Alan would know exactly the date that this happened, but I don't. But they had proposed at Vicksburg Square, and it's a very big complex, it would have been probably 500 units, affordable housing there. But it did not pass the 2/3 vote at the super 3-town meeting.
That was 12 years ago, though.
It was 12 or 15 years
Yeah, we
ago.
can still bring something up now.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, again, that's mass development, will go, it's mass development
it's
that will go.
controlled by mass development now, and it's very complex, and we talk about it. It also is probably, I don't know, what would it take to do Vicksburg Square? $50 million? You know, that's, 30 would be cheap. It's a lot, it's a big space, there's a lot of contamination there. But it's not something that we don't talk about, we talk about it all the
I
time.
think there's too much talk. I think that people should take action.
Well, again,
I mean, I'm not just talking about in general. It's just-
You need to be recognized by the chair, and I'm not trying to be rude.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right,
Yes.
Denise, the whole thing is, like, I know that, I'm driving things along here, the administration over at Mass Development has changed over those 12 years. So with that, I know that the individual who is now heading it will be, starting to talk all over again. I'm gonna say, Sean, I would imagine the select board has heard some items about it.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, nothing that's in.
No, I understand.
But yeah, there's still
But-
discussion. There's
right.
still discussions, and prior to the pandemic, there's discussions of but there is always going on. It's just it's government entities. Things move very, very slowly.
No, but there are people live that
You
see.
need to raise your
Well,
hand.
I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Well, you know what, I'm sorry, it seemed like nobody was doing that, so I didn't realize that that's what you wanted, so I apologize.
It's okay, no, I know, like I say, I'm lousy, I shouldn't avoid this. Yeah, all right, but yeah, Denise, it is, and like Sean said, just like anything else, it does take its time. And when things change, or pandemics happen, things get put on back burner, you know, and whatever. So with that, I know that it's not gonna go away. And to me, it is a waste of space. So we'll see what we can go ahead and do.
I'd just like to comment. I think the answer to her question or concern is that we'd all like to see something generated from the people at Devon's, and we're here and ready to support it.
Correct.
So that's about the best we can do right now. We stand in a position to support things that come before us, but we can't tell them how to bring that forward. It's up to them to start the initiative and bring it to the towns. Then we have to be ready as a committee to be prepared and understand the proposal in order for us to convince the town to support it. That's probably our best position.
And I'm not convinced that Ayer didn't vote in favor of it last time, but I don't think the other two towns did.
But
I think
in
you're
any
correct.
event, we just want to have an understanding and knowledge of what, when it comes out and it's ready to go,
Yes.
we can back it.
Yes. And we do appreciate the whole community being here supporting this.
I'm good. All right? Okay. One of the other things too that Alicia brought up is with this housing trust. I want people to realize, and again, I'm going to put my community preservation hat on. Approximately a little over 2 years ago, we asked the town to increase the surcharge for the CPA funds from 1% to 3%. And we asked for that increase because of the housing crush, as well as some of the historical sites in town needed, assistance and open space recreation. We want to go ahead and use those CPA funds to help out Peroni Park and the playground. We want the monies to be used to help affordable housing be built in the town. Again, CPA funds were used for the Habitat for Humanity, for the Nutting Building, for Pleasant Street, so these are all different aspects that these funds, which are coming from the community to help offset the price of what the community itself has to, or the town has to pay for. So, and reduce costs of, building some of these housing structures. So with that, we are trying to make sure that there are funds available. Well, the Housing Trust got fed $30,000 last year to go ahead and help out with any type of emergency assistance. These are individuals that do fall through the cracks of if they're asking for RCAF, rental assistance and such. We do have these funds. Having this type of trust means that we can expedite things. It doesn't have to go, it's already gone through town meeting. All right, so this is one thing that, again, we're trying to find ways so that we get the okay from the town originally to say, this is what we want to use these funds for. And in doing that, we're able to go ahead and address the need now instead of waiting 6 months for a town meeting. All right, so that's one thing I wanted to bring up with regards to some of the funds. Go ahead, Alicia, you got something else you want to add?
No, because we're at the next item.
Okay, now, what I want to do is put on the hat for the committee and the trust, where we need to look at these rental assistant applications. Again, I went ahead and I got some information. I will forward it to everybody with regards to Groton's Housing Summit. Groton does have an application process for this rental assistance, and they use something called Metro West. It is a fund that is out of, and I remember seeing Watertown, that works with local communities to be able to go through their rental application, their rental assistance application. Yep.
Yeah. So I passed out, Groton has a rental assistance, this is a COVID-based rental assistance. This is the way we could subsidize rent.
I'm sorry, did you say it is or is not?
It
a COVID
is.
base? Okay.
Okay. Groton's is a COVID-based one, Foxborough's is just one that they have at all times, okay? So these are two towns' rental assistance programs. And I want the board to take a look at the two ways that they have gone about it, because we're gonna talk about putting together a rental assistance program. But the other thing we're gonna need you guys to do is vote on whether this is something that you think that we should be doing or not. We don't need to do that.
No, I want people to go ahead and be able to read up on
Trying to
this.
educate you correct. But understand that a rental assistance program is one way we can help. So many people go for subsidized housing, either state or federal subsidized housing, and they sit on waiting lists for 5 years. This is a way that we could help move that along, subsidize their rent. Maybe Foxborough subsidizes $500 a month. Groton is subsidizing for just a 4-month period or an 8-month period, and theirs is COVID related. So both programs are very interesting, and this is a way for you guys to just take a look and read through the programs and get a little bit of an understanding about them, and then we can come back and discuss what everybody liked and didn't like.
Because sometimes it's better not to reinvent the wheel. All right, you know, when somebody has already gone ahead and done it and they've been successful. I didn't realize that Groton has had, you know, these assisted programs for quite a length of time. So it's something that,
Groton's only been a year and a half.
okay, I'm thinking of their housing trust and such like that. That's been around for a while. So it's like, these are all lessons to be learned, and this is all stuff that we're gonna go ahead and educate ourselves on. All right, so I thought, when Alicia brought it up, I thought it would be a great thing to go ahead and have. All right, so as we're thinking about, you know, coming out ways of doing these types of applications, bring your ideas, you know, to definitely the next meeting. Sure.
Alicia, this program you said is the emergency rental based on COVID. We granted funds in the town of Ayer.
They use CPC funds for this. They allotted $200,000 because Groton's been having a little trouble building affordable housing. So they've got a lot of CPC funds, and they allotted $200,000 for rental assistance through, they did it for 2.5 years. So it's there in Groton right now for people to apply for.
So it's self-funded by the town of Groton.
It's self-funded by the town of Groton, and they chose to go to an administrator outside of Groton. And we can talk about whether we want to administrate it in-house or whether we want to send it out to an administrator, and I have more information on that we can talk about.
Do you?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Do you have more information on that, like right now? Just curious. I see there. It would just, and it's just, I guess, a further conversation later. It's a timing thing. One of the things I don't like when I make referrals, like at work for people, is it just takes forever. I noticed on theirs it says 14 days after application, but so if there's a benefit to in-house or out-of-house, timing-wise.
So one of the reasons I talked to the Groton, housing specialist today, and one of the things that she was talking about was that their legal representative, or their legal person.
Town
Yes,
council.
town council. Thank you, John. Town council said that there is a lot of secure information happening when you qualify someone for assistance. And the question, they didn't know how, with open meeting and people can ask for documents and things like that, they were concerned about that. So she decided to look at having the administration done out of house. And she gave me the numbers of what Metro West is doing it for them, and it's really cheap. I couldn't believe it. But
process of somebody coming in and filling out an application, why would that even be under open meeting law?
It's not.
The other part is, so, a discussion.
Documentation.
So with our housing rehab, I have to qualify people.
Okay.
And I need all sorts of tax returns, just like if you go for emergency rental, it's the same stuff. You need all these tax returns, you need all these documentation of income, and that's a federal program that I'm doing that under. It's all under lock and key in my office, and we have done that in the town there. So it is a choice for us to do it either way. And that's something the board will decide on, what they want to do and what they think is the most reasonable thing to do.
I guess also from, I'm sorry, Jeff, you were. No, I'm going to ask a nuts and bolts question, and that is, have either the towns of Groton or Boxborough set up a budget category in their, in the town budget for these amounts?
They're both doing it through CPC,
Okay.
okay? I would like to say this ultimately about my housing rehab. When I don't have grant money, I can't do rehab.
That's right.
And this is a question of, should we be setting aside X amount of dollars for housing rehab,
Yeah.
which is also low income,
Yeah.
that's all low income,
Yeah.
and for, because I do a lot of housing rehab, at this point in time, the town probably, we put a mortgage on the house so nobody has to pay it back. And I probably only have 80 mortgages out there right now, but I haven't done a count recently.
No, it's just, I mean, town meeting, we put money aside so that emergency comes up. A heating unit goes out, people can't be without heat in February. By all means, fix it. You know, so there's money budgeted for unknown expense in the future. CPC funds will fund this. I guess the question is, without knowing what the funding mechanism is, how much can we do? And other things that happen when it comes to CPC funding and affordable housing, Littleton just did this. They bought down the cost of units. So if a unit's going to cost, I'm making this up, $100,000, and it qualifies for 80% affordability, Littleton said, we'll buy down 30,000 of that, so it's a $70,000 unit. The town owns it, but they take the CPC funds, which they collect in their tax base, and buy down the future cost of that property. And then the developer says, I don't lose 30 grand, I'll do it. So there are ways and mechanisms that it works. It's not going to give us 100 units right away, but over time, this is what communities do. So there's lots of efforts going on.
Yeah, and you know, with CPC funds, like I say, to get those to be expended, it has to go through town meeting. This is why the housing trust was created.
Yes,
That we can throw more CPC funds into that housing trust.
we can direct the money into the housing.
Correct.
We can't throw it there.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Understood. We have to get the approval
Yes.
to move money from the CPA funds into the housing trust, which means then the housing board has it available to assist.
And there's,
Alicia, can I ask you a question?
yes,
The money that you give out for these rehab programs, that's a grant, that's coming in from a grant from outside the town. Could this committee, and could we put on an agenda in the future that we should talk about putting together a part of the town budget? So there's an annual amount every year from our town budget.
that's what you guys are here for, to
So,
be
yeah.
a think tank to do this.
Put
The
a line
bond
item. I think that's what
management,
you're
yes,
getting at.
absolutely.
We create a line item
Yeah.
in the town budget.
Yep.
It's headed off, whatever it is.
It becomes part of the
So
element
the
of this budget.
current position is not looking for those outside funds.
Well, I always
Collecting
look
a
for
lot of
free money, I
collecting-
have free money.
All I'm saying is that this would put the town, well, with your commitment, that this committee and the town has made a commitment, that we're gonna enter it into a budget,
Yes.
and we're gonna say it's gonna go in there. And we could decide how much they did. Then, I'm talking outside CPC funds. This is not CPC.
No, I know, it's like what they did with the conservation fund. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a tiny amount.
well, I know it's a tiny amount, but still, it's part of the budget now.
Right.
You know, where they go ahead and every year, they have it so that money's going to that conservation fund. We can ask the same thing, so that money's go into this housing
If we
fund.
want to show that we're making a commitment, we should have a budget item, a line item.
But hence, this is why I asked what the amounts were and how many, I mean, it's, I hate to say it, it's simple math, it never is, but how many families are affected by this in towns that look like us economically? And what is the amount of money
do the division, figure out what we can do, and that would be a guidepost for looking for money. But I would like to see it as an omnibus budget item, so that we have the funding. So when it happens, we have something to work on. The last town meeting, Janet did such a great job on this, it went past unanimously. So
But we'll keep our fingers crossed.
we keep our fingers crossed that
The momentum is
the
there.
momentum and spirit of the town is to move this way. So,
Correct. Alicia?
And was something that I had started to touch on earlier, that is also a way to get funds for this trust. And that is in the inclusionary zoning bylaw. There is a piece that says that the developer has to either give us one unit or give us the dollar amount for one unit. So that can be, and in Groton, they have something like this. And when we built some units in Groton, when I was on the housing authority there, we had, $500,000 there ready to put towards those units. So there's a possibility, and we can look at with the planning board how we do that, but that money would come into the trust.
Do we want developers to give us money rather than build affordable units?
No, but if they're not gonna do a good job, then what we do is we give it to Habitat or we give it to a nonprofit, so we then go out. If we have a piece of land,
Tiny houses.
we can go for an RFP for a nonprofit to build us housing.
And maybe also, especially if it's going to be a development with, large standalone homes, maybe we don't want an affordable, large standalone home, maybe we want the money.
It's
Because it won't be affordable, it won't be little A affordable, it'll be big A affordable.
well, what they
Double
often,
it.
they often build a big home that's a duplex that doesn't look like a duplex, so two people. Because I actually think communities should be mixed,
Oh,
and
absolutely, but all I'm saying is we're trying to move toward a lot of
Yes.
smaller affordable units.
Yeah.
The last thing it seems that we need is another big monstrosity.
There are also ways to attract in developers to do other types of housing, over 55, over 62 age. Don't know that we have any property here in town that would be attractive to it, but I know of ones that are in Stowe, Acton, Groton. I believe there's one built in Littleton recently. And these populations don't use as many resources. You have to be 52 or older to live, or 55 or over, or 62 or over to live. And as you said, they're beautiful homes, which are actually affordable units. Nobody knows. But they'll build 100 units and there'll be 22 or 26 affordables in there, and no one knows who they are. But that's how it works. Even the condominium management boards can't find out who's who.
Isn't that Autumn Ridge?
Yeah.
Autumn Ridge is that way also. I wasn't here for Autumn Ridge. I just happened to manage one
Yeah,
of the towns.
with Autumn Ridge,
So-
Can you elaborate a little bit about that? I mean, not take up the whole.
I'm happy to talk through the outside of that.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
All right, okay. Rick, did you have a question? You had your hand up there for a while.
Is there any communication with Brady Sullivan about possibly making some of the units that are going to be transitioned to more expensive units to keep them as affordable?
I don't know. Yeah, that's okay, no problem. I mean, it's more of, I can find out. I think that's the best my answer that I can do is to see, what type of conversations and if they are being made, available. And I can let you know.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay, oh, no problem. All right,
Nobody in the town hall knew that Brady Sullivan had bought the property until last month's meeting of these two committees, when Ron Worson brought documentation about what had sold in town. That was the first time anyone in town hall even knew they had bought it. So it was a private sale. We didn't know it had happened. And then we just knew that the sale had happened, and if you do the math on the sale, they basically spent someplace around $130 per unit. Okay, that's what it works out to be. Then they sent out eviction notices, and that's what's brought us all here. Okay, so
it moved fast.
the town, has not been. I know that people.
Great story. Thank you for that information, honestly. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, they did not, yeah. That's like, all right, I'm moving on to the next, Denise, you have anything? Or-
Oh, no,
No, that was just, okay. All right, I'm just moving on to the next item on the agenda, where the team here, I think I told you that we do have Shelley Goring from the Mass Housing Partnership. She told me that in the fall, she's able to come out and do some sort of training session. So it will go ahead and be like a Housing 101. I was gonna try to see if she could do it in August, but again, with everything that's been happening, I moved it back to maybe September so that she can go ahead and come in and do, like I say, a housing, Mass Housing 101 for us. And this would be good because then she will go over what's available on Mass Housing Partnership's website called a housing toolbox, so that we have all the different, like I say, items or resources available to us from Mass Housing, from, again, I'm going to say Chaplain. I go ahead and I have to look at my sheet here for being the Common Housing application for Massachusetts Public Housing. All these agencies do have resources to help us out. So I have reached out to them and they're willing to do, some sort of seminar. So I think everybody here, I see that head shaking, where it's like, okay, great, September would be great. Again, I know I told you guys, for the trustees, it's only been 4 times a year. As we get ourselves situated and everything, I think, having all this, having it as joint meetings and such, this goes ahead and brings us all onto the same page. And one thing I do want to emphasize is, if the community will notice, when we've been having these different type of committee meetings, I'm going to say, I know me, myself, I'm lucky, but the community is lucky because we have members from different boards here on this board, on this committee, as well as on the Community Preservation Committee. It's part of Mass General Law. We may laugh at Mass General Law, but it's part of Mass General Law that the Community Preservation Committee has somebody who is on the Committee for Housing, is on the Committee for Historic, for Conservation, for Planning, for Recreation. That's mandatory, those 5 individuals. So which means when we get together, just like having Planning Board, having the Select Board, CPC on these, on these committees, it brings that information back to those committees, and those committees can react, and vice versa, bring that information back to this group so that we can react. I like that because it's communication. I want to keep everything as possible, as transparent as possible. So again, if you've got questions, if you've got ideas, send them over to Alicia. This way here, everybody stays informed. When something gets thrown at us, we scramble, but again, we've got a great group to go ahead and scramble together and make a great omelet. So with that, it's like, I want to make sure everybody gets the education. We do have a good committee, and we do a great job, I think, of communicating back and forth and keeping it with the open meeting laws and such. So I want to make sure, like I say, the community was aware.
And if you don't mind, Julie Murray was asking last evening about education for the planning board, because we're looking at a couple of sticky problems going in the next probably 6 months. And I know she's on CPC with you. I have a feeling there's a great amount of carryover between what we're talking about here and what we're talking about there, and there's interest in getting the education.
Oh, yeah.
So, we do take reports back to the committees. Different members sit on different boards. Maybe not formally every meeting, but it comes back in. So it works. And
And also, when you're talking about that, these types of, any type of training sessions, when we've had this before, I opened it up to every single department in this town, okay, to make sure that anybody who wanted to show up, and we even had Ken Martin from the Housing Authority show up. So we want to make sure that everybody is all, brought up. So if we're going to have somebody come out here and do a talk, I just don't want it to be to the 10 of us, 12 of us, okay?
that'd be great.
I think that would be good.
And I know the town manager's office is very interested in education on a continuing basis. So.
Correct. Yep. I agree. Sorry.
So you don't get to manage that anymore. Your manager takes care of that for you.
Well, that's what he gets paid for.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Okay, so I wanted to make sure everybody was aware that I've been talking to, like I say, the different agencies so that we can get some training sessions coming up in the fall. All right, now, discussions. Do we have anything to discuss with regards to some old business that we need to go ahead and deal with? I know we've got something again for new business, but anything for old business that you guys
Just stuff we talked about, which is, we're still waiting on the 40B, the comprehensive permit. We hope it's at the state. And we hope to be able to bring that into everybody, but it hasn't happened yet. So,
They take their own time, it's unfortunate.
yeah.
I know it isn't.
Well, the state told me that with the tax credits, it takes longer.
Okay. All right, and then for new business, go ahead. Old business.
No, go ahead, I was gonna ask a question, but I
No,
just,
go ahead.
so it looks like the housing trust is missing a member right now.
Correct. That's.
So the process is you guys make a determination, you take it to the board,
Correct.
the board acts upon it.
I'm sorry, are you gonna ask to be on the August,
Yes.
next month's agenda?
Correct.
For the
We will.
17th, okay.
Okay, we just have to make sure that the individual who received the one less vote is willing to go ahead and accept it.
We're missing 2 members. The Affordable Housing
Oh, yeah.
Committee needs to send a member. So we need to make,
Someone from the committee, the Affordable Housing Committee, a member on the Affordable Housing Trust.
Exactly.
All
And
right.
once that is set up, then the trust does its officers and things like that.
Correct.
So good. 'Cause I was gonna request not doing that until those.
No, I understand that, and also
Yeah.
too,
So we could make them be in charge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Cindy, we got enough going on in life.
I know. Well, what about the bylaw, the housing trust bylaw has been sent to the state and everything, and as soon as Susan gets it back,
Yeah.
I have to have everybody sign it, which means everybody has got to be on board.
Exactly.
so do you want to talk about whether we want to, so we had how many people apply for?
12.
12 people applied for the housing trust.
And it got down to 10, and then we ended up interviewing 5. 6, 7. We interviewed 7, I'm sorry, we interviewed 7, and then we ended up, like say, voting on them, where we came up with 5, and then we.
4.
That's true. And so we ended up, like say, with the, no, there were 5.
5.
Okay, and then we ended up presenting the 3 with the highest votes. I mean, we
Yes.
presented our 5, but showed that 3 had higher votes.
No.
And then we have the other 2.
Because you were assigned from your committee, you were assigned from your
Yes.
committee.
Correct. And you were assigned from yours. So.
Did you have to, I had to apply? No.
We just make sure we took it.
And I'm sorry, Jennifer. I'm sorry Jennifer's not able to serve. I enjoyed meeting, just one meeting, but I enjoyed meeting her, and she seemed like she had great energy and great experience.
Correct,
So,
she definitely did, and she did offer, if we do have any questions, she's still, available to.
She wants to stay.
Yeah, she wants to stay in touch, so that's awesome. So it's like, okay, so I say, so we do have, the 2 with, and 1 individual received the more.
So they have appointed 4 people, the select board, they appointed Jennifer, Jake,
Me.
you. Okay, so they appointed 3.
Only 3.
And we had sent them the 5 and they said, we just want them as the vote. So the 4th person was just 1 vote off of the other 3. And the question is, should we just go ahead and request that 4th person get?
Well, like I say, we have to ask the 4th person first.
Oh, that's true, but we have to ask the committee if that's what they want to do.
Oh,
I'd just like to see the count again, if it's possible. The
Sure,
vote.
we have
Sure.
that.
We could look at the vote as the Affordable
Okay.
Housing Committee.
Okay.
I feel more comfortable
Okay.
reviewing it in my.
and all right.
You know what, we haven't approved minutes for the last 2 meetings, but it's in the minutes.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we have it in the email, I think, as well.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and maybe we need to have a committee meeting before our next joint meeting. Okay.
and we need a committee meeting of the trust as soon as we get all the members.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do 1 step at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
stuff you gotta do to remain legal, huh?
Oh, I know.
I forget
When's
that all the
the,
time.
Yeah, when's the select board meeting?
It's Wednesday the 17th, August 17th. Is that?
You guys get vacation and everything.
We do.
Okay, so we have to
One
do
meeting.
it.
Like they used to do.
Monthly in the summer.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, we have to.
San
All right, so I'll,
Could be quick.
yeah, I
Okay.
Okay.
For the select board meeting?
This
6
is the
o'clock.
early, yeah, first week of August.
I think it's on the 17th, Tuesday the 17th.
Awesome, thank you.
Will you be around, James,
When is that?
the first week of
Hold on.
August? Will you
Yes.
be around?
Yes.
That's August, that's,
No, no,
yeah,
this is-
because we
this
can
is
keep the
maybe
space.
possible.
Yeah, we're September.
Yeah,
I think it's,
will you be around?
Yeah, we're September 14th, so.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong.
No, that little one's got,
Yeah.
Tanner was
Yeah.
to do the math last night.
Okay, all right, let me, and I'll check with Ron and Karen to see if they're available the first week of August. All right, so that's one of the new, business. The other new business is, this is being taped, okay? And I wanna, make sure that individuals, have their, saying, I know that we have to, if we're gonna want these meetings to be taped, it has to be put onto APAC's budget. So with that, I need to find out if people like it being taped, or it's like, the minutes, will take care of it for being public information. So this will be something I want you all to think about and tell me whether or not, go ahead, Colleen.
Understanding what the housing trust role is moving forward, if we're looking at things like rental assistance applications, I would think that would not be things that we would want taped.
Exactly.
And I don't know if there would be, occasions where then we might need to have a public hearing that we request taping of.
Correct.
But I would think that the normal, when we get into our normal business, it wouldn't be appropriate to
I
tape.
agree 100%. Privacy.
I understand, this is one thing that I've talked to town administration about, as I go. All right, any other feelings?
To follow up to that is that I'm on board with the Air Affordable Housing Committee meetings being taped. Because we have a regular meeting, but we're not going into the confidentiality that the trust will go into. So,
And presumably, you're gonna have a member on the trust who could report back
right.
for that, taped
Yeah.
meeting about, general information on what was discussed without
discreet-
getting
but
into the.
discreetly.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
if I can, answer the question about just the nuts and bolts of it, I'm assuming that Alicia or Janet, one of you will be at the Housing Trust meetings also?
I'll be the administrator.
So, you'll be administrator, so I'd imagine that much of the information that cannot be discussed in a public forum would come to us as a recommendation from Alicia's office, and it would be, the recommendation would be in such a way that it would be blind. In other words, act upon this, and we can't ask questions like how tall, where do they live?
I still don't want it.
Okay, I have no trouble with that, but I just wanna put that on the table. My expectation is we're not discussing whatever.
So what I usually do in programs, and this is out of federal law,
Mhm.
is that the policies that you guys will set will dictate who is first in line, who gets what they have to, how low income, all that kind of stuff. So no names, no addresses, and all that kind of stuff. You'll set the policy so that all I have to do is plug in
You
the
simplify it.
number and its formula.
Perfect.
And that's the way
It's
these
better to be
programs
blind.
run.
Yeah.
And then it's blind,
Yeah.
and it can be confidential and all that sort of thing.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, that works out great. All right, if there's nothing else, I just want to say that the upcoming joint meeting, I've got it as being August 20th. Okay, you're out of town? All right, okay, so maybe it won't be August 20th. When you guys come back, Danny, be the 20, this is August 20th at 10 a.m., so that must be a Friday.
Yes, it is a Friday.
Yeah, so what's Wednesday after that?
The Wednesday after that would be the 25th of August.
Will you guys be back on the 25th of August?
Darn days of August.
Another.
You're lucky at this point.
Have a Zoom meeting in August.
Sorry?
Can you have a Zoom meeting?
I've got to double check again. Everything's fluid because who knows? I mean, we have to wear masks today, so.
I had a question. So if you guys were to decide not to record the
Joint meeting?
Right. So would you guys still allow the public to come?
Oh, yeah, it has to be an open meeting.
Right. So I mean, I could still come and do live.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So yeah. So, I just will say that during this whole process, that I actually went back to your meetings and looked at them, and like so that to me, there's a benefit there because I actually when I was trying to look at them and try to find where you guys were discussing demonstrators was brought up, and thank you very much for your story because I was not aware of that you guys had no idea that was happening. If I had to guess, I would expect most of the Diamond Crest residents feel that you guys knew that it happened way beforehand. And I'm just saying from my own personal experience of talking with them, people saying things like that. So that's great to have the information out there just to say that that's not the case.
I had heard that Tossie was talking about putting it on the market.
Oh, and then asking about the
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
Same
that-
thing.
It was on for a few months, it was on for a few months.
Yeah, okay.
It would take a while for a deal like that to be put together.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. Alright, so, again,
Did you pick the 25th?
yeah, I'm looking at the evening of the 25th,
7 p.m.?
7 p.m.
I already put it in my book.
Alright, so it's in the book. Just got it in the book.
I'm sorry, but I'm traveling a lot in August this year, and you got lucky, so.
Okay, alright, we'll do it that way, and it's like, okay.
So what,
Well, let it be written, so let it be, no.
I said 25th.
so, not the 20th then?
No,
the 20th was a
no, not the
Friday.
20th. Alright, so cross that off.
Yeah.
Because we've got people who are gonna be out of town on the.
No, that's
20th.
fine, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we are gonna be meeting as a committee, hopefully August 6th. I'm gonna see if that will work out.
And that's a Friday.
That's a Friday at 10 a.m.
And we'll get the trust the missing representatives. And then the trust needs to meet as committee and voting officers.
So it looks like you'll be seeing a nominee at the select board in September.
On August 17th,
Oh, okay, excuse me.
okay?
There you go. You're gonna get it done, honey.
Okay. We do our best, I mean.
No, Janet, you know, I'm sorry.
We got to. you
I'm
know?
terrible with dates and phone numbers, honestly.
I know, Bonnie tells me to, not never mind.
And I'm in charge of the date, so.
I know that's true. I'm sorry, Bonnie, forgive me. Alright, so with that, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Also moved.
Alright,
Second?
second.
Yep.
Okay, Colleen, you got it? And I think all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Again,